We're taxing our farmers to pay farmers in foreign continents. We think we're doing these countries a favour by giving them money, by giving them foreign aid, all these things. But all these things we do damage those countries even more. We import people and export our taxes.
Yeah. We're taxing the farmers now, and they think they're going to raise about 520 million quid
Yes.
from the farmers. But it's since been revealed that we are sending farmers abroad £516 million a year.
Exactly. We're taxing our farmers to pay farmers in foreign continents.
I mean, it's
Well, that's just unbelievable. First of all, why are we funding other people's farmers?
Yeah.
And why are we having to tax our farmers to fund other farmers?
yeah. It's just. I think
it's
that's
as
a
if
national disgrace. That if that's the case.
every time we have these conversations and you come up with something like that, it makes me go, don't our politicians want to spend our money in our country?
Yeah.
They tax the hell out of us and just seem to have this aim of giving all our money away to other people.
Yeah. No, I did some research on this, and by the way, chat for your benefit, but also for our listeners. ChatGPT is really good for this information now.
Right.
Extracting information. So I used to spend quite a lot of time researching, but ChatGPT goes to about 10 websites, does all the research and gets the information for you. So what I found out is that I thought the figure was about 1.5 billion, but it's more. We spend 2.4 billion a year on UK farming, supporting UK farming, and mainly subsidies and things like that, which is great. I think that's great with subsidising our own farmers. But the amount of money we spend abroad every year on and I've put here on various shit, including Ukraine, is 23 billion.
Yeah.
So we spend 2 billion on our farmers, but send 23 billion pounds abroad every year for farmers, for Ukraine, for UN, World Health Organization. I mean, it's a scandalous amount of money. What could that money do for the people in this country?
I think it's more than that.
Really?
It must be more than that. We've got to a stage where we import people and export our taxes.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm going to talk about the ICC in a minute as well in relation to Starmer and the Semitism. But the COP29, this current COP29 thing. So apparently the poorer nations nearly stormed out of this. This is all related. This is all interlinked because it's about money leaving our country and going to other countries. We are currently spending with them. The rich nations are currently giving them 100 billion a year, of which presumably some of that 20 billion of ours is in there. The reason they stormed out is because they wanted 450 billion a year by the year 2035. The COP29 have agreed to go to 300 billion. And it's like, no, we're not going to give 400 billion, but we'll give you 300 billion. Like they're doing us all a favour. Like we're hard negotiators, we've got them down. So you've got these grubby countries demanding money from the rich nations. And of course, these guys, why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they do that? I mean, it's no different to when you're on the beaches in Spain and the Algerian guys come along and try and hustle you for some money or whatever. These guys are good at hustling money out of people because they have to do it to survive, don't they? So these poorer nations are demanding money from the rich nations, including ours. And the rich nations have agreed to give 300 billion a year by the year 2035. 3 times what they're giving at the moment. And we'll be giving our share of that. In the meantime, we're taxing our farmers. We're not heating our pensioners. It's scandalous. Now, the only light on the horizon is Trump has signalled he is going to withdraw the US from all this shit.
He will do. He did it last time. He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords last time, so he'll do it all again. So, what we need to understand are these countries are beggars. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. They're beggars.
Although it is very disrespectful.
But we're keeping them as beggars. It's a bit like the person sat on the street corner begging. We think we're doing these countries a favour by giving them money, by giving them foreign aid, all these things. But all these things we do damage those countries even more. So we've turned their best people in the country, the ones who run their country, they know they're beggars. That sends a message then to everybody else in their country that we're not as good as the West. So we're all beggars as well. We've got evidence of, all our old clothes that are in good condition that we then ship to Africa, and we dump them there thinking we're doing good. That destroys their homemade textile industries. They all go out of business because suddenly no one's buying their locally made jumpers and coats because we've just dumped a load of second-hand stuff in the market, so no one buys it. They all go out of business. They lose that trade. They lose those skills. They lose that part of their culture. So now they're all dressed like poor Westerners instead of wearing their traditional dress. We do it so many ways. We keep destroying the third world because we think we're helping them, and that's exactly what we do with beggars on the street. We give them some money, they buy drugs and alcohol, we give them a sandwich, that stops them getting help that day at one of the centres, and we enable them to sit on the streets and beg. And that's what all this money does to the third world. We enable them to just survive by being beggars, and there's no self-respect in that at all. And we wonder why they don't build up their own infrastructure, why they don't build these businesses and their own industries, because they're too reliant on being a beggar. If we wanted to help these countries, what we need to do is trade with them. And what we say is, right, you're a cocoa producer, so we'll buy processed cocoa off you. At the moment, EU rules says to African countries who grow cocoa beans that we'll buy the beans off you, but if you process the cocoa beans, there's a 400% tariff on it. We should say, remove the tariffs, we'll buy the cocoa beans processed off you.
Why is there a tariff if they process them?
But because we've got companies who process cocoa in Europe. So we just keep them down all the time. But to make us feel better, we throw them some coins.
And what we're doing is enabling them not to progress, basically. You also have to question, of this 100 billion that's currently going, of which we're paying 10 billion or whatever, how much of that actually gets to the places it's meant to get to?
Nearly all of it, because it all goes to Swiss bank accounts. So Mr. Mugabe or Mr. Shah, whoever these people are running the country, they take a big share of it. It all goes to Swiss bank accounts. The fraud is endemic.
And that's the point. So we're giving all this money, they're arguing about it, and then it arrives in the country and it's just hoovered up by all sorts of corrupt individuals, isn't it? And probably will not get. So that 500 million that was supposedly sent to helping African farmers for God knows what reason, how many of the African farmers get it?
Hardly any of them.
And it's like you said, you're not a fan of Band-Aid, are you, basically?
No.
Because most of the money didn't go anywhere near the people that needed it in that.
It's all siphoned off with backhanders, with fraud, with corrupt officials, with some of this money funds wars with their neighbours. We need to pull out of the third world, and we need to trade with them on an equal, fair footing, and they will grow. But treating them as pathetic beggars does them no good whatsoever.
I agree.